do this thing. So welcome. It is it's March already, March 2021. Can you believe it? And I think it was about 12 months ago that we started these forums, just as we went into lockdown. And I was just reflecting and how wonderful I've found these forums. I don't know about you guys, but I do these for me, and you guys get to come along, so which is pretty wonderful. So welcome. It's good to see you all. I love that people turn up, which obviously means you're getting value. December 2020. Hello, Felicia.
Hi there, Andrew and everyone. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, doing very well. So it looks like we've got about, I think at the moment, it looks like we're about half you Americans and half Australians, which is wonderful. So Friday night for the Americans and Saturday morning at various times for the Australians. So wonderful. Good to see you all. So I guess what I want to do just to start is, well, Leggy, it's the first time Leggy's been on one of these forums, isn't it? Oh, Leggy's frozen. So I just want to say, can you hear me, Leggy?
Yes, call me Leggy.
Leggy, sorry, Leggy. Leggy, welcome.
No, it's okay. I get it all the time.
Can you would you be up for just introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about yourself and why you're here?
Sure. I'm Leggy Boone. I'm living here in Central Florida in Polk County, and I'm a forensic analyst with the sheriff's office here, and I've been undercover writer for probably more than half my life. And I did just have a great opportunity to publish with two other former crime scene investigators. We all did crime scene for at least 45 years between all of us. And we just finished a textbook. So now I'm working on a couple of personal books, trying to make them real, because I've called this my decade of legacy making.
Good. Well, great to have you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
And I think everyone else has been here before. So what I thought we might do, let's just start. Anyone like to share? Now, I'm going to ask you all to do is pop yourself on mute, if you wouldn't mind, just so there's no background noise. And then if you would like to comment, ask a question, report, tell us about a breakthrough, tell us about some cool stuff that's going on for you. Let's do that for the next 10 to 15 minutes. So you can use chat, or you can put your hand up and say, please, I would like to share. Wave your hand. Okay, we'll start with Kat. So Kat, if you would like to I think let's just do, when you're talking, just a quick introduction, just for Leggy's sake and anyone else that doesn't know. And all, actually, Judy, is this your first forum?
Yes, it is.
It is. Well, I apologise, Kat. We're going to
just
hold for 2 seconds. And sorry, Judy, for some reason I thought you were at the last one. So, Judy, would you like to say hello and introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name's Judy Myers. I live in South Australia in the beautiful Encounter Bay, which is just stunning. And I've just retired out of real estate and looking for my next adventure, whilst also writing, I hope, successful books for children about West Highland Terrier and dogs and what they get up to when nobody's looking.
Wonderful. And I've seen some of Judy's stuff. It's going to be great. So it's awesome. I think I want to be a kid again so I can read her books. But welcome and good to see you, Judy. Good to see you. Okay, Kat, over to you.
Hi, I'm Kat, currently based in Western Australia, previously based in South Australia, and previously based in America, so making the rounds. But just wanted to share, I had reached out to someone who's quite an expert in a field that I'm not an expert in, and just said, oh, you'd once mentioned, and I just wanted to confirm and asked her a question. And she's not only come back and said that I was completely wrong, which is wonderful, and gave me links to resources to to sort out this particular section. She also, without me prompting at all, offered to review the section for content. And you know, this is something that it's always a bit nervy to reach out to someone, and I was just really, really, really gobsmacked at how forthcoming she was and how willing she was to help. And I just wanted to encourage anyone that's thinking like, oh man, I could really stand a hand to someone, but I'm not sure, I don't want to impose. You know, it is surprising how often people want to help. So it was a big success for me, and I just wanted to encourage anyone else who's in that kind of moment to take a punt, because yeah, wasn't painful.
Awesome. And that it's so true, isn't it? People do want to help. We sometimes fear asking, don't we? But if you don't ask, you shall never receive. So that's great. Thanks, Kat, for sharing. Anyone else would like to share anything? Give us breakthroughs, ideas, things that they've achieved, maybe areas where you might feel like you need some help.
I can share if you like.
You're not sort of in such a talkative group. What happened?
I can share. I can share if you like.
Well, would you like it, Annie? Okay. That's the question.
Yes. Okay. I shall share. I'm going to share. I haven't done a lot in the last few months. With the borders opening, I've just been spending a lot of family time because my daughter and 2 grandchildren live in New South Wales. So we've been going backwards and forwards since Christmas, and they're coming up here for a few days with us, which is great. So I've pretty much done nothing, but I did do something. I created a new email campaign, and I contacted a lot of libraries as well this week.
Sorry, I'm going to stop you for 1 second. For the people that don't know.
What's that?
For the people.
What's that? Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. For the people that don't know you and what you've done, can you just introduce yourself? Thank you.
Obviously, that should be the first thing that I'm doing. My name's Annie Pateman. I've written a book called The Strength Within. It's about my journey as a 3 times cancer survivor, but I don't dwell on the disease. I dwell on overcoming the challenges and the adversity with determination and resilience and hope. And I was diagnosed 40 years ago. So I've sort of done something right in that regard. I live in Melbourne, Australia, but currently I'm in the beautiful snowy mountains in New South Wales. Yeah, so I was published a year ago, and my book launch was right after the lockdown in March, which I had to cancel. So I really haven't had any face-to-face meetings this whole year to have the opportunities to promote my book. But what I did do was I became a social media addict and just lived on social media and built up my profile on LinkedIn and Instagram. Instagram, I really hadn't used. I'm still not that comfortable with Instagram. I'm still kind of don't really understand it, but I'm still posting on there. My biggest challenge, which I should be able to do no problems at all, is to do a live cast. And I'm blocking myself. I can do it. I know how to do it, but I've still got that fear of what if no. So that's my challenge.
So we lost you there for a sec, Annie. Annie, we lost your internet. Obviously, is not very good. What did you say your fear is? What's your fear of?
I want to do a live cast like this. I know how to do it, and I know what I want to do, but I have the fear of actually just doing what you're doing at the moment, Andrew.
What's the fear? What are you scared of?
That nobody turns up.
Well, one person will turn up.
Yeah, myself.
Well, that's where you start, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to open this, and Andy, I appreciate you sharing that, because it takes courage to share your fears. It really does. So I'm gonna handball it to some wonderful people. They're going to give you some super encouragement. Marilyn looks like she wants to give you some encouragement. So Marilyn.
Annie, can you tell us about the launch of your audiobook?
Oh, yes,
which
definitely.
I've been reading everything with great interest, and I'm very interested. I know you were wrapped with the person that read it for you. Can you tell us a bit about your audiobook and the launch?
Yep.
Please.
I've just created a audio book. I haven't really had an official launch for that either, but it is now on Audible. It's on about 50 different platforms, but there was a delay with Audible because there was a glitch in the recording, but that was all sorted. I did not narrate it myself. I know I could have done it. I know my voice is okay for it, but I just couldn't. I don't know. I thought if I do it, I want to change it. I want to change things in the book. I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have written that. So I didn't want to do that. And I went through a company called Square Sound, and they were brilliant. They gave me 5 audios of, they're all professional actors, some couple quite famous professional actors, and they all gave me a little audio. Then I selected 3, and they came back to me with a couple of excerpts from my book. And I selected Jane Bailey because she was almost my mirror image, as with her feelings. She had a compassion, she had the empathy, her voice was beautiful, she was well paced, and she was so detailed. We had a phone call and she had all these questions for me. She just wanted to get it right. Because I'm from Europe originally, so she wanted to get the pronunciation of all the European names, my parents' names, and it was just brilliant. And they did it. Oh, it was so, by the time I said, yes, go ahead. Can you hear that in the background? Dave, can you turn off the jug, please? I'm in the middle of speaking. Sorry about that. Yeah, oh, now I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so by the time I signed it, they had it done in 2 weeks. The book's about 40,000 words. To listen to it 6.5 hours. And then she put me onto the distributor in Canada, Authors Republic. They had it up within like a couple of days, available for sale. So the whole process took 3 weeks, which was so quick. It did cost me a few dollars, but I just thought, look, I may as well go the whole hog, just get it all done. And I'm really satisfied with the product and the professionalism of the organisation that I used.
Awesome. That's great. Well done, Annie. Cool. So can I would like to come back, if that's okay, because I think, come back to that comment, Annie, about your fear of doing these live events. Because I think one of the things we're all going to face is anyone facing fear of anything at the moment around their book or selling their book, or I think let's deal with this. Is anyone want to say anything to Annie, or got any ideas for her? Sheree?
I had to unmute myself. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I've done I've done a lot of speeches in front of anywhere from 3 people to 200 and in between, but the idea of doing a podcast or a webcast or hosting my own Zoom meeting is, it terrifies me. I don't know if it's because I know they're recorded, or just because for me, it's more, I don't want to be the host. I'm afraid I'll mess up the IT part of it. So here's what I did. I just started following other people that are doing it and reached out. And I've already got interviews on 2 different podcasts. So that's going to help me get my feet wet and let somebody else be responsible for all the IT and putting it all together, and give me a chance to see if I can deal with all of that, So yeah, that's a real valid fear. So I don't know if it's the same with you, but for me, it's more the administration and doing it all right. And then, is anyone going to show up? Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder about that all the time.
Yeah. I'm okay with public speaking, and I've had some interviews on podcasts, And I'm all good with that because I'm not leading them, but it's to lead it that's my concern.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think anything that is like you haven't done, everything that's new is scary, right? Like anything that we haven't done before is scary. And I think there's really only one thing to do, and that's just jump into it and you just face. I mean, you've faced many fears in your life and overcome them, right? Compared to cancer, I don't know if we can compare doing a live event. I don't know if you can really compare it. So my encouragement for you is think beyond the fear. Okay, imagine your forum, and I'm going to talk about this shortly. But imagine, your live event and people showing up and people getting incredible value from it. How's that going to feel? You need to work on. You've got to move out of the emotion, and you've got to move out of that fear, and you've got to turn it into. You've got to harness positive emotion. So your fear is what you don't want. Would that be correct? You're thinking about what you don't want. You don't want to turn up and no one's there. You don't want to stuff it up. You don't want to look stupid. You don't want to be embarrassed. Would I be right in saying that? Yeah. So you've got to.
Probably.
So what you're thinking about is what you don't want, because you don't want any of those things, right? And that's what fear is.
Yeah, that's
fear
right.
is focusing on what we don't want. Okay. So Annie, tell me what you want from your live video cast event. What do you want?
Well, I want for people to learn more about me and my book. But also I was going to have it like a Q&A, because there's a lot of people out there that have bought it. So I'd like to gather all those people together and just do like a Q&A session.
And what do you want them to get out of it?
I want them to be able to have overcome their fears. Yep. And go for their strength within as well. So to face their obstacles and their challenges.
And then when you've finished and you've helped people and they say, Annie, thank you, that session was so good. You've really helped me. I feel like I've got strength to move on. How's that going to feel?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what I want to get out. How will I feel?
How will you feel?
Well, amazing.
Okay. All right. So that's what you need to start focusing on. All right. If you focus on that feeling, focus on that outcome, I mean, I'm sure you want that, correct? The only way you're going to get that outcome is you've got to do it, right? You've got to run it. So it's really simply just moving your focus, shifting your focus from the thing that's giving you the fear, or the anxiety, which is focusing on what you don't want. And I don't know why, for some reason, we seem to be wired to focus on what we don't want. And you've got to be very deliberate to focus on what you do want. Focus, think about it, feel it, get excited about it. And then, who's ever seen the movie We Bought a Zoo? Yeah? You're the only one, Cherie. You haven't seen the movie We Bought a Zoo? Oh my gosh, you guys.
I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, he says to his son, his teenage son, okay, Matt Damon says to his teenage son, who's scared, he's having trouble with girl problems, and his father says, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage, 20 seconds of embarrassing bravery, and something great will always come of it. Okay? So you focus on what you want. You feel that emotion, and then you stop analyzing and you do something. 20 seconds to do something, 20 seconds to make a call, 20 seconds to make a decision, 20 seconds to get started, 20 seconds. I tell the story with my first book. I was terrified to post the manuscript to publishers, first book, because I was fearful of rejection. I was thinking about what I didn't want. I was worried I was going to get rejected. I'd worried that I'll never get published. I was worried that I'm going to look stupid. So I packaged up, this is many years ago, I packaged the manuscript in a brown envelope and sat it on my kitchen table for about 4 or 5 days. Yeah. And I looked at it, I walked past it every day and I said, you should post that. And I'm going, but I don't want to. If I post it, then I'm putting myself out there and fearing rejection. And then I thought, okay, I'll put it in my car. When it's in my car, there's more chance I'll put it in my car and it will stay there for the next 4 or 5 days. Until finally I thought, stuff it, 20 seconds. Picked it up, went and dropped it in, just stopped thinking about it, dropped it in a post box. Something great has, my life has turned upside down and turned around as a result of that 20 seconds. So Annie, focus on what you want, not what you don't want, and do something about it today. All right? Today. Don't, if you wait till tomorrow, I'm going to slap you. So today. Kat.
I have a practical suggestion for you, Annie, based on what you were saying. Seeing as one of the things you want is to talk to people that already have the book. I'm guessing you have like some newsletter group, because you did say something about an email earlier. So one thing that I have done in my professional life quite frequently when I've been needing to talk to like end consumers is we'll email out. So I'll pre-make a little survey on Google Forms, which is very easy to do and free. And I'll ask specific questions, like I'm trying to figure out some of the things I want to know if people, it's what I want to know, but I kind of ask them, it's like, do you want this? So I'll ask like, how interested would you be in a Q&A with the author? And then have that be a sliding scale. And just doing some of that, because you're actually then building some of the enthusiasm in advance. You're also seeing that if there is no interest, like that takes that, I don't think that that's going to be the case, but if there is no interest, then you don't have to worry about that. You can also ask some of the questions like, when would be a good time for you? If you're interested in a form, when might be a good time, and say like evenings or whatever. So you can kind of take some of the logistics worries away, because you just preset that and then you just know. So then when you announce, oh, look, we're going to do this, people are like, oh, good, I'm so excited. Oh, it's Thursday night, not Wednesday night, but that's okay. I'm going to, you can just kind of get rid of some of those unknowns just with a simple survey that goes out that people respond to. And you can even send them like a reminder about that, or you don't. And one of the nice things about that is you you can always like fib a little on like what happened. So, you might only, if we had, I think I've got 18,000 people on that business account, and we might get like 100 replies, but then we'll email out or announce out like overwhelming, interest in this means that we're going to do it on this day. It doesn't matter that the overwhelming interest was like 6 people said that Thursday was the best, because that's for you to know. But then we always had more people show up for the actual whatever, because people are, inertia. It's not that they're not interested. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of, oh, I'm not going to answer this survey. But once it's out there, you already had also set that seed. So today, interesting, do something today. Just start designing that survey today. That's what it is you're worried about, like when, and, would you be interested in, what topics would you be interested in? If you just think about some of the questions that you're worried about there and just write them as questions, then you'll get your answers, and then you can design it around that.
Great
advice. A brilliant idea. Thanks, Kat.
And I think the other, look, and let's go with worst case scenario, Annie. Let's say you run it and no one's there, okay, except you. Will you survive? Will you be okay?
Yes, I will.
Okay, you're not going to die.
Yes, I will.
You're not going to self-combust. Everything's going to be okay. So I think the best case scenario is you get lots of people, you inspire them. The worst case scenario as well, it's just you. Okay, you go back to the drawing board and you work out another way, another approach, another way to do it. So I would say to you, Annie, make a decision today that you will do this.
I am definitely doing it.
All right. So everyone, we're all evidence. You've got 15 other people here, Annie, that have heard you say that. So you have put yourself out there. So well done. Good. Anyone else want to share?
Thank you.
Or you're welcome. That's why we're here. That's why I love this forum. We've got some amazing people. Anyone else want to share anything or ask a question or tell us about how they're going, where they're at with their book? Are they just starting? Are they stuck? Do they need help? Sheree.
I keep forgetting I'm muted. I hate to be the only one saying anything, but I launched my first nonfiction book. And so I wanted your opinion on this, because, you dream about this and you want to be the authority and you work really hard, you put it out there, and then it starts to happen. And then you start to doubt, and you're saying, because, all of a sudden now you're the expert, which is where you wanted to be. But now you have a whole different set of fears, because now everybody's looking at me as the expert, and I'm getting booked for speakers and different conferences. writing groups, podcasts, and it's everything I wanted. And now I sit here and think, wow, this is getting scary. Is anybody else? I mean, have you done that? Have you? I don't know. I guess, did Madame Curie say, if you never see what you've done and you only see what you still need to do, you better sure enjoy what you're doing. So it's kind of interesting. It's an odd feeling I wanted to share.
Thank you, Sherry, for sharing that. And I know what you're saying. It's the things we want are often things we haven't done. So there's fear. There's always going to be fear. I mean, does anyone want to answer that or address that? I think there's no substitute for action in my mind. You know, even if you don't have all the answers, I'm a big one for a lot of you know me. Big one for just acting without having really any clue where I'm going or what I'm doing, and just having faith that the answers will come. And if you get asked the question and you can't answer, that's okay. Well, you don't have to have every answer. You don't. And that's okay. I think when you're honest, say, look, that's a good question. Can I get back to you? I want to consider that a little bit more before I answer. I think people respect that. So I think just do it is my greatest advice. Just embrace it, do it, get out there. And the more you do stuff, the more comfortable you get. I mean, you know, I'm in front of people all the time, and I think it's about trusting yourself. It really is just going, well, I know it's in me. I've just got to have faith that whatever comes my way, I can answer the question or I can find a solution. I don't know if that answered your question. Anyone else got anything? Hello, Lisa. We'll have Lisa and then we'll have Judy.
Hang on, I've just got to unmute myself. I'm not very good at the technology here, but anyway. I just wanted to say something to Cherie, that if people are already contacting her, you're in demand. I think people are basically giving you the feedback that what you've done, they want to hear more of. So I think you've already done the work. You just need to elaborate on what you've done, and I think that's great, and go for it. And
yep, awesome.
Good.
That's great. Thanks, Lisa. And Judy, you want to add?
I just wanted to say that I'm a bit stuck at the moment. I've written 4 chapters for the first children's book, and I was fairly happy with it. And then I started to think about it and thought, I think these puppies need to have either superpowers or something to make it far more interesting for children. So I'm just kind of sitting back now and been waiting for a little voice in my head. These are dedicated to my first Westie, Gussie. So I've been waiting for Gussie to tell me what I should do, whether they can talk to children only, or they can talk to other animals, or I don't know. I've just got to put something in there, I think, that just makes them more interesting.
Okay, so I know we've got some children's book writers here. Paula, you've written books for kids, haven't you? I mean, what do you suggest for Judy? Any advice?
Hi, Judy. Well, I think go with your heart, because your characters speak to you, and as you write, one of the dogs wants to say something. Yeah, maybe you could have them all talking, reading a children's book at the moment called Monty's Island, and it's written by Emily Roberts. She's written a lot of children's books, and she's got an elephant, and she gives them names, and they all talk. So, and I'm finding that very entertaining. So, just keep writing and see what comes up. If one of the animals wants to, have him being fun, like, have them have little characters. One might be a silky animal, and another one might be very playful and a bit of a trickster, and another one might be a little bossy one. So just give them a little personality and see how they go. Like if one gets messed up in a situation where he needs help, you know, the others are all going to try and rescue him. And you could make it really fun. You know, they fall in the, one's scared of water and he falls in the mud pond, or I don't know. But just trust yourself, keep walking, keep working, and just see what comes up. If you go right off at a tangent, you can bring it back and say, oh, that's too far, but I can go harder.
Thank you. Thank you for the advice.
Well, that's awesome advice. It really is. And I love that. And again, that comes down to trust yourself, right? Just trusting yourself. Just write something. Just come up with an idea, start writing, see where it goes. If you don't like it, but if you just let it flow, you'll find, I promise you'll like it. When we overthink it, when you said you've started thinking about it, I thought, well, there's your biggest mistake right from the start. Stop thinking. Stop thinking. So
thank you.
Can I share some? Well, not share some. I've got an issue that I need to get over.
Yep.
Now, just that I have got 2 books, children's books, that have been sitting there, and I do perform them, but I want to get them into a written form, and they just sit there. And my biggest problem is trying to organise myself, because I seem to put too much on my plate, and then it's like, well, I can't start writing because I've got to tidy the room. I can't find my notes because everything's a mess. Like, that's been a horrible narrative I've had for 5 years, well, probably 10 years. And it just stops me and plugs me, and just where I don't get anything done. And a day goes by and I say, well, I fucked that up. Like, I've done nothing to do with my writing because I'm doing other things. I'm in a little show at the moment, so a lot of the energy is going into that. And then I'll just go off and my time is frittered away. So I'm really pissed off with myself. I need some good organisational structure, and to stick to it, I'll come up with a plan, but I don't stick to anything.
All right, there you go. We'll open that one up. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for your honesty too, Paula.
Thank you.
So we've got Kat and Felicia. We might let Felicia go first, Kat, and then you, if that's okay. Okay, Felicia, good to hear from you.
Yay! Hi, everyone. Paula, I will say that I have the exact same issue. I always have the best of intentions, and over the last month, Paul Joy has been my accountability partner, and we've tried to touch bases every couple of days to see what we've done. So that did at least give me the nudge to do something. I find that I let work get in the way, and life and everything else that just comes with the day. And I always put my book last. So I think, okay, I'm going to take my laptop when I get into bed, and I'll sit here, and then I have ample time to work on it. But what happens 100% of the time, I fall asleep. I'm so tired and my brain is racing that as soon as I settle, I fall asleep. So that seems to be the constant theme for me and my time. I'll never have enough time. So I'm going to flip it. So instead of jumping right into work and looking to see what issue I have with my customers, I'm going to take that first 30 minutes and write something. I did just write over the last month, nothing that was really congruent with what I already have, but along the same lines. So still it's getting me back into the practice of writing so that I can take the things that I'm putting together, because it's all experiences. My book is a business, it's about a business trying to get restarted. So that's basically what I do. So as I write my little nuggets of things that happen throughout my days, that's still going to give me content for my book. But the time management, sometimes it's almost impossible to do because there's always something that's going to come up. So I think if I put that book right up there with my workout time, it will get done.
Okay, thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Very helpful. Thanks.
Kat.
I have posted this in Facebook, but I really, really, really recommend this book called Better Than Before. It's by Gretchen Rubin, and I'll put the details in the chat. So this whole book is about habits and why building habits is hard and the different styles people have about habits, and the different methods, like working out, identifying your own way of dealing with habits, and then understanding what methods are more likely to work for you. Reading this book, I know I'm adding a task, but like giving yourself permission to read this book, I think will absolutely give you an insight into yourself and what is working, what isn't, and why those things happen. And then you can actually structure, you know, if it's an accountability buddy, like what Felicia was just mentioning, or, you know, what will work for you. Like for me, what I realized after reading this is that end marks are so critical for me. Like even on Andrew's 63-day chart, getting to the end of a row, I was really nervous that somehow I wouldn't do the next day. And I understand why that makes me nervous now. And like I've worked out my own strategies for dealing with that. But it's amazing understanding what is keeping you and why. I think would be huge for you. And I'm guessing that either an accountability buddy like creates like outside pressure. That might be something huge because that's really big for a lot of people. And I think, you know, like Oliver and I have done that for each other as well. We've been accountability buddies, and well, I won't speak for Oliver, but it's been huge for me. So yeah, I'll type the name in the chat, but I highly, highly, highly recommend the book.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Kat. That's wonderful. I think one of the things that I've had on my heart to talk about today, and this whole conversation that's been going on has sort of reinforced what I just want to share just quickly. I mean, for those of you that have worked with me, you'll know what's the first thing we do. What's the first thing before we even talk about your book? What's the first thing we do?
I would say work on your limiting beliefs.
Even before that, Oliver? See, the fact that you can't remember is the reason why I need to say this. We work on vision, right? We work on clarity. We work on why am I doing this? Unless you're clear about your why, your picture, your vision for your life, anything's going to get in the way and distract you, okay? And now the whole time management thing is an absolute myth. You cannot manage time, okay? No way. Time's going to go. Has anyone been able to add extra time, stop time, create more time? Anyone? Can't do it. Can't do it. You cannot manage time. You prioritize your time based on the clarity of what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. So if you remember, if the very first session I do with every single person is, okay, why is writing a book important to you? How do you see it impacting your life? What do you want for your personal life, your professional life, your family life, your career life, your financial life, your well-being? What do you want? And I think if you haven't refreshed that vision, now's the time to do it. Get your vision. How many of you have a vision board that you look at every single day? Wonderful. When's the last time you refreshed it? When's the last time you added to it? When's the last time you looked at it and you felt desire, that's what I want? Because let me tell you, all of our problems, all of the issues will disappear. They will, when you have clarity around what you want and a burning desire to make it happen. Okay. You know, and again, not to bore you with my story, but this point's really important. When I made a decision to write my first book, I was working close to 100 hours a week in 2 businesses. I'd been a personal trainer for 15 years. I'd been 2 years in a cafe that was close to $100,000 debt. I had no skills, no experience, no background, no qualifications to write a book. And at no point at any stage up until that moment had I ever even thought about it. What I had was clarity about what I wanted and what I didn't want. I knew I wanted to have an impact on people's lives. I knew I wanted multiple sources of income. I knew I wanted to speak and to impact and to help, and I wanted choice. And I was so clear on that I built this incredible, this inner desire in me to, even though I had no clue what I was doing, I was going to write a best-selling book. Because there's no point writing a book that's not a bestseller, right? That's not going to sell. Because what's the point? I mean, my attitude is, what's the point of writing a book for the sake of saying I've got a book? It's, you know, you've heard me say it's not about the book. The book opens the door to create the vision. But if you don't have the vision, writing a book is just, it's a process. It's just a mechanical process. This should never be a mechanical process. This is coming from your heart. This is this desire in your heart to create, to inspire, to build, to whatever. But you have to start with that vision. And I just want to, Paula, your problems will be solved the second you are totally clear on what you want for your life. And I mean clear, not, oh, I'd like this, that'd be nice. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to have that life. I'm going to create that and do that and be that person. When you are clear and you make a decision, time management is not an issue. Honestly, tidying your room, is it really that important that you have to have a tidy office to write? Not really. I don't think I've ever had a tidy office my whole life, ever. You know, there's a lot of things we think are important that really aren't. When you think about what's really holding me back is I'm not clear. There's obviously, and Oliver, you mentioned self-belief and self-talk. That's a big part of it as well. But let's start with burning desire and then action. You know, Annie's got this fear of doing these live events. I guarantee once she gets into action, the fear will not be there because she's motion, movement, vision and movement will help build confidence. And if you move every day towards that vision, your confidence will grow, your belief will grow. That's my story. Like, it's so not about talent. It really isn't. Anyone want to comment or question or share, or, like, we've all done it. I mean, we've all achieved incredible things in our life. And I guarantee you it started with a vision of what you want, a strong emotional connection to something that you want.
Yeah, if I can just say, I've started making little diagrams, the way I'm trying to lead people through the health industry. And, you know, here's the primary care, here's the home health tech, and then right down in the corner is the hospital that you should be the last place of last resort. And that's helpful for me. And then hopefully it can be helpful to other people to just say, this is how it looks on a picture.
Yeah, awesome. Good on you, Delia. Thank you. Go, Oliver.
I was not peer pressured, but encouraged by certain someone to share about my progress in my book. Like, I know that I haven't really been posting every day. Like, I've still been doing work in the background, but I'm about 2/3 of the way through my editing process of my first book. And as I mentioned in the previous forums before, I didn't really wasn't really that clear on my vision. I kept overthinking. That led me from, and I just basically attended one of your forums called Win the Day, and it's just about, like, creating the habit, and that got me from writing about 5 chapters in 1 year to writing 14 chapters in a period of 2 months. So,
and Oliver, that's awesome, and that's incredible. However, you didn't do that because I said you need to write every day for 63 days. You didn't do it because logically this makes sense and logically I need to create a habit. You did it because you wanted something. What did you want? What was the vision that you had? What was it that drove you to stay at it for 63 days and beyond?
it's just to see the end vision of just making an impact of other people's lives by sharing my story. So, and
why is that important?
Because I know that there are people out there who are like wanting to seek help and need that sort of motivation, inspiration. So,
and how's that going to feel for you when you achieve that?
It's going to feel bloody awesome.
Okay, and let me ask you this. What would be the consequence if you didn't?
I mean, I gave it a shot, so therefore, if people are not inspired, then it doesn't really bother me.
Okay, but there was you've got a real vision to help people, yeah?
Absolutely.
So everything we talk about, you know, strategies and techniques and tips and, you know, writing techniques, you know, like there's a million of them. You can read books and you can listen to stuff, and it's great. There's some amazing strategies, but none of them make a difference if you don't have clarity about what you want. And if it doesn't, if me getting up today writing, if I can't link that with the life I want to live, the impact I want to have, the vision I want to create, then I'm not going to do it. I promise you won't do it. You know, so I think for anyone, and I know we've got only about sort of 5-10 minutes left, but I'd love to hear if anyone would love to share why are they writing their book? Why are they doing it? What's the big picture? So if you'd like to share, who do you want to become? What are you trying to do? Give us an idea. And I don't want to hear about the book. I want to know about your life and how that book can help you achieve that. Is anyone that would love to, is clear on that and would like to share with us? Cherie, Delia, then Judy.
I'm not how terribly clear I am on it, but I know that I want multiple streams of income, and I want to be able to leave my kids a multiple stream of income as opposed to an inheritance, because I know the value of that. And my oldest son has got disabilities. Not that my other two need a lot of money or anything like that, but it's just one of my desires, and my husband and I, to leave them something more than just, here's some money. Okay, I want something out there that I know, even when I pass away, the book that I have published right now, and all of you can know this, it's still going to be out there, and it could probably still be making money. It's amazing. So I wanted to, that is one thing I wanted to do, and to live a lifestyle. I really love to write mid-grade adventures, and that's what I'm going for. I'm building a base on my nonfiction and my marketing background, and then that is helping me. I just pitched to 2 publishers, and both of them asked for my manuscript for a middle grade humor that I'm writing. So that's all great news, but that's what I'm hoping. That's my vision, I'm hoping. But thank you, Andrew, because I forgot.
Well, I would, no, you're welcome, Cherie. And what I would say to you is, you said you want a lifestyle book, and I'm not going to ask you now, but I want you to think about what does that lifestyle look like? Where do you live? Where do you travel? What are you doing? You talked about multiple streams of income. How much income? Where's it coming from? What are the sources of that income? What are you going to do with that income? You know, like, this is the stuff I'm talking about, clarity. I'm not saying, yeah, I want to make money and make a difference. What does that mean? You can make $10 and make a difference to the dog next door. You know, like, get clear on what it is, and you watch what moves in your body and then in your life when you have that clarity. Delia.
Okay, what I want to do is lead people to basically get off the grid with healthcare, lead them into what America's called direct primary care or concierge medicine, to home health tech, and to away from what is really a toxic system of either government healthcare or private healthcare, neither of which work in my opinion. And I think this is really important for me, because apart from anything else, you know, the system is really collapsing. I mean, healthcare really around the world is not sustainable. The costs are just skyrocketing, and systems are going to end up just disintegrating into a mess of privatisation. And I want to lead people forward into what are really useful products, where you basically cut out the middleman and just have doctors and patients directly, almost like an Uber, you know, or an Airbnb. Have a platform that just connects the health providers and the patients, and cut out all the middle shit. I think that's important, because I think big problems are coming in the West, you know, and it's based around debt. So,
okay, well, you've got a lot to do then, Delia, so no mucking around. Get to work, young lady. You've got to save the world.
That's right.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And Judy, did you want to share?
Yes, I couldn't have children, and so I'd like to leave a legacy of children's books, and my children have been my West Highland Terriers. So it's kind of marrying those two together, but it's also being able to work when I want to work, not have to work. So it's about having choices. And on my vision board over there, which I'm looking at now, You know, there's a pale blue sports car. There's adventures that I still want to have in the world. I've been fortunate that I've had lots, but there's still, you know, there's family to support in country Australia that often struggle, and just to be able to have those things. And also, I'm a big advocate for making sure that animals are protected and looked after, and I'd like to be able to have enough wealth to be able to really make a difference there rather than just giving small amounts each month.
Awesome. Some clarity there, right? So I just want to encourage everyone here, if you haven't looked at it for a while, refresh that vision. Spend some time. And you'll probably find that answers a lot of your questions, a lot of your fears, a lot of the things that you're stuck on. You refresh your vision, and I think you'll find that is the thing you'll go, wow, all of a sudden the answers come. Because when you know where you're going, have you ever noticed this? If you're going somewhere, right, in your car, and you know the destination, and you come to a roadblock, what do? Do you stop and go, well, that's it, I can't go? No, you find another way around, don't you? You backtrack a little bit, you go around via a detour, and you find a way there. When you're clear about your destination and you've got a reason to be there, you will always find a way. So the things that you're currently blocking you at the moment is only because you don't know where you're going, or you're not clear enough about why you want to be there. Simple. I'm just popping in the chat right now a link to an event. A lot of you may have, a couple of months ago, Heather, do you remember Heather Rendulic? She wrote a book called Headstrong. And she's an amazing lady that went through a 9-hour brain surgery and lesions on her brain and was paralyzed and told she'd never walk again and blah, blah, blah. And now she's an author and doing amazing things. She and I are actually doing an event together, and this makes sense for the Americans, maybe not so much for the Australians. It's called Put the Spring in Your Thing, okay? It's spring in the US. It's where autumn here will fall here in Australia. But don't we want to put the spring in whatever our thing is? So it's very much around get some oomph, get some drive, get some energy into whatever you're doing. And so I would recommend it as I said, the link. So I'd click on the link now if you're interested, just so it opens up in a browser. Otherwise, because when we end this call, it'll disappear. So if you're interested in that, it's on it's a Friday morning in Australia. It's a Thursday evening in the US. I think it's the Friday the 9th. Sorry, Thursday evening, the 8th of April, or Friday morning, the 9th of April in Australia. Yeah. Okay, before we wrap this up, we've got a couple of minutes. Does anyone want to say anything or share anything, or any last comments, questions? Peggy.
Hey, Andrew.
Peggy and then Felicia.
Yeah, sorry, I really messed up the time. So I thought it was 7 our time, but it was 6. I guess if you all had a time change, maybe. I'm not sure how I messed up, but my apologies for that.
That's okay. No need to apologize.
So the first thing I remember you asking me was what I wanted to do with this book. I said, I want it to be a movie, a Disney movie. And I still think that there's a lot of fun things happening in it. I'm just kind of remodeling it, I guess. So I just keep that in mind. That's my kind of out there goal.
Okay, good. We'll keep that in your mind, Peggy, and get emotionally attached to it. And Felicia.
I was going to say 2 things. One, I'm going to make sure that if nothing else, I touch my book every day. I think that came from either Kat or Sherry. Sherry. So it's here, so I'm going to do that. The other thing, I don't know about you all in Australia if you've had it yet, but I got the COVID shot yesterday. and it absolutely zaps you of your energy. So I see you all, but I'm just really here in spirit.
Well, thank you for coming, Felicia. We're glad to see you. And hopefully you'll get over that pretty quickly. So I'm going to end it now because it's now, that's 1 hour up, and I just want to be respectful of your time and always grateful for every single one of you for being here and contributing and sharing and hopefully getting something out of it. So we will join again in 4 weeks. So that'll be the Saturday the 10th in Australia, Friday the 9th of April. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with the time zones. I know that US, is your daylight saving started yet?
Tomorrow night.
And ours is going to end. So there's going to be a 2-hour shift somewhere in the next 4 weeks. So how that's going to work out, I'm not sure. When I send the Zoom invite, you'll see on your calendar what time that is. So apologies. I wish I could control the time zones, but I can't. That's just something. So it might be earlier or later. I honestly, I can't even tell you what's going to happen, but hopefully we'll see you all again in 4 weeks, and look forward to hearing the stories of refreshed vision, of renewed excitement, of forward motion, and some wonderful stories of success. So, you can all reach out to me at any time if you need help or you want guidance or support or just to chat. I'm here, and thank you all for being here, and look forward to seeing you in a month.
Thanks, Andrew.